Step into the unknown with the shadow frequency and your host, Matt Wilson, as he takes you where the shadows hum.
All right, let's dive into the archives of the unknown. I'm rummaging through this dusty old file drawer. Hang on, what's this? The tin cans. How many we got here? See, 1, 2, 3, and I don't know what this is. Goodness gracious. All right, Bigfoot sightings, nope. Haunted lighthouses, not tonight. Here we go. Tucked behind a folder labeled Unexplained Giggles, the Manhattan Alien Abduction Case, episode 181. This one's got it all. A New York housewife, extraterrestrial visitors, and a city skyline that saw more than just stars. On November 30th, 1989, Linda Napolitano claimed she was lifted from her 12th floor apartment by a beam of light into a waiting UFO. Witnesses, intrigue, and a story that'll make your skin crawl tonight. We're tuning into the paranormal pulse of Manhattan. Matt, you ready to beam us up into this one?
Oh, Juniper, you've pulled out a cosmic gem tonight. I'm already getting chills thinking about aliens hovering over the Big Apple.
All right.
This case is wild. Let's see what's out there.
Buckle up, listeners, because Matt's about to take us on a ride through the neon-lit unknown. Take it away, Matt.
Thanks, Juniper, for digging through that drawer of mysteries to find this one. All right, let's crack open this file on the Manhattan Alien Abduction Case. It's November 30th, 1989, 3:15 a.m., and New York City is humming with its usual late-night energy. But in a 12th floor apartment in lower Manhattan, something otherworldly is about to unfold. Linda Napolitano, a housewife and mother, is asleep next to her husband when she feels it. A heavy, unnatural stillness. The air thickens, her body freezes, and suddenly, she's staring into the large black eyes of 3 gray beings standing at the foot of her bed. These aren't your typical late-night visitors. Linda describes them as small, thin, with oversized heads and those haunting, unblinking eyes. They don't speak, not out loud, but she hears a command in her mind. Be quiet. Then the impossible happens. A brilliant blue beam of light cuts through her window, and Linda feels herself lift off the bed, paralyzed, floating upward. She's pulled through a closed glass. Yes, through solid glass, into the cold Manhattan night. Below, the city's lights blur as she's drawn into a glowing oval-shaped craft hovering above the skyline. Inside, the atmosphere is sterile, almost clinical. Linda's laid out on a table, surrounded by those gray figures. They're focused, methodical, like scientists studying a specimen. She feels a sharp sting in her nose as they insert a metallic device, and her mind screams with questions. Why me? What do they want? For 2 hours, she's subjected to what she later calls quasi-medical procedures, before waking up back in her bed. Her husband's still asleep, oblivious, but the memory is vivid, unshakable, and soon Linda notices something strange, a lump in her nose. She visits a doctor, and an x-ray reveals a foreign object, but when a specialist tries to remove it, it's gone, leaving only cartilage buildup as evidence something was there. What makes this case so extraordinary isn't just Linda's story, it's the witnesses. According to UFO researcher Bud Hopkins, nearly 24 people saw something that night near the Brooklyn Bridge. Picture this, strangers on the streets of Manhattan, looking up to see a woman in a white nightgown floating through the sky, bathed in a blue beam. One account comes from 2 men, known only as Richard and Dan, who claimed they were security guards for a high-profile figure, possibly even Javier Perez de Cuellar, the UN Secretary General at the time. They say they saw Linda rise from her window into a UFO, their hearts pounding as they watched, helpless. Hopkins interviewed these witnesses, and their stories match Linda's down to chilling details. But it doesn't stop there. Linda's ordeal continued after that night. She claims the aliens returned, targeting her family, causing nosebleeds that left her terrified. Her son, Johnny, even recalls seeing 3 strange beings in their apartment as a child, a memory that still haunts him. And then there's the darker twist. Dan, one of the alleged witnesses, became obsessed with Linda. He and Richard reportedly visited her, emotional and shaken. But Dan's fixation turned dangerous. He allegedly kidnapped her, interrogated her about the aliens, and even forced her to prove she wasn't one of them by showing her toes. His obsession led to another abduction, this time terrestrial, taking her to a Long Island beach house where he confessed his love in a delusional frenzy. Linda escaped, but the letters he sent afterwards spoke of a man unhinged by what he'd seen. This case, listeners, is a paranormal puzzle. The sheer number of witnesses, the physical traces, the ongoing encounters. It's as if the universe itself was trying to send a message through Linda. Was she chosen for a reason? Did the aliens have a purpose? Perhaps tied to the environment, as some researchers speculate. Bud Hopkins believed this event might have been meant to nudge world leaders toward action, with Linda, Dan, and even the unnamed diplomat cosmically linked. The Manhattan sky that night wasn't just a backdrop. It was a stage for something beyond our understanding. Juniper, this case is giving me goosebumps. The idea of aliens plucking someone from a high-rise in the middle of New York City, it's like the X-Files meets Taxi Driver.
Oh, man, I'm picturing those gray beings navigating Manhattan traffic to get to Linda's apartment.
Yeah.
Beam her up, but watch for yellow cabs. What's next?
More on this cosmic mystery, but first, let's take a break. Over to you, Juniper.
Wow, listeners, are you feeling that theory buzz in the air? Linda Napolitano's story is wild. Put through a Manhattan window into a UFO? That's the kind of tale that keeps you up at night, wondering what's watching from above. I bet some of you are checking your windows right now. We're only halfway through, and Matt's got more to unpack about this chilling case. Stick around for the second half where the shadows get even deeper. Now let's toss it over to Chris Beach to tell you where to find us.
Thanks, Juniper. And hey, don't forget, if you're enjoying the show, give us a like and subscribe. You can follow The Shadow Frequency on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and of course, all the major podcast directories. Want more? Head over to shadowfrequencypodcast.com, where you'll find every episode, our brand new Shadow blog with companion articles, and our merch store with some eerie cool swag. Plus, we'd love to hear from you. Leave us a voicemail right on the site and let us know where you're listening from. We might feature your message in an upcoming episode. And if you'd like to support the show, you can even buy us a coffee. Every bit helps keep the shadows whispering. Back to you, Juniper.
Thanks, Chris. Now it's time for the mailbag, where we dive into your messages from the void. I'm firing up the spectral cosmic communicator. Hang on, let me flip these ancient switches. There we go. It's humming. All right, let's see what the mysterious note it's conjured up tonight. Let me just get this open here. All right, got it. Here we go. All right, listeners, we've got a gem from the spectral communicator tonight. This one's from Patty in Virginia. She writes, "Hi, Matt and Juniper. I just had to write in and tell you how much I love the Shadow Frequency. I've been listening for a while now from way up here in the hills of Virginia, where the nights get real quiet and the shadows seem a little deeper. Your cryptid episodes are my absolute favorite. I get chills every time you talk about strange creatures lurking where the streetlights don't reach. And those conspiracy episodes, oh, they keep me thinking long after I've finished listening. Honestly, I love the whole podcast, every single eerie, mysterious, and thought-provoking minute. You do make me feel like I'm right there in the studio with you, swapping stories by candlelight. Keep up the incredible work, and know you've got a faithful listener here in the Blue Ridge. Stay spooky, Patty from Virginia." Hey, oh, Patty, you're making me blush under this candlelight. I can just imagine you out there in the Blue Ridge listening to us while the shadows dance. Those cryptids better watch out. You sound ready to spot one. Thanks for the love and keep those spooky vibes coming. Want to join Patty and send us your thoughts? Drop us a line in the Shadow Podcast, protonmail.com. All right, Matt, back to you for the second half of this cosmic ride.
Thanks, Juniper, for pulling that message from the ether. Let's dive back into the Manhattan alien abduction case where the night sky over New York turned into a portal of the unknown. We left off with Linda Napolitano's harrowing experience lifted from her apartment, examined by gray beings, and witnessed by strangers below. But there's more to this story, and it's not just about aliens. It's about the aftermath, the obsession, and the lingering questions that make this case so haunting. After Linda's abduction, she turned to Bud Hopkins, a renowned UFO researcher who became her biggest advocate. Hopkins documented her story in his 1996 book, Witnessed, the True Story of the Brooklyn Bridge Abduction, using the pseudonym Linda Cortile. He believed her case was a cornerstone of UFO evidence, not just because of her vivid account, but because of the alleged witnesses. Hopkins claimed he interviewed over 20 people, including a woman who saw a bright light through her curtains and those two security guards, Richard and Dan, who were supposedly protecting a high-profile figure. Their letters to Hopkins were emotional, describing a woman floating in a beam of light, a sight that left them shaken. But the story takes a darker turn. Linda claimed that Dan's fascination with her grew into something sinister. After their initial meeting, he allegedly stalked her, showing up outside her apartment. In April 1991, he and Richard reportedly kidnapped her, interrogating her for hours about the aliens. By October, Dan's obsession peaked when he took her to a Long Island beach house, demanding she wear a white nightgown like the one from that night. He called her his Lady of the Sand, his mind unraveling under the weight of what he'd seen, or thought he'd seen. Linda's escape was a close call, and Dan's letters afterward painted a picture of a man broken by the experience. Then there's the claim about Javier Perez de Cuellar, the UN Secretary General. Some UFO researchers speculated he was the world leader in the car with Richard and Dan witnessing the abduction. Hopkins even suggested the event might have shifted his political priorities toward environmental issues, as if the aliens used Linda to send a message to humanity. De Cuellar, however, denied any involvement, stating to PBS that the claims were completely false. Now let's introduce a shadow of doubt. While the witnesses and physical traces like Linda's nosebleeds and the mysterious nasal lump make this case compelling, there's a skeptical perspective we can't ignore. Carol Rainey, Bud Hopkins' ex-wife and a filmmaker, came to believe Linda's story was an elaborate hoax. Rainey, who initially supported Linda, later questioned her behavior under hypnosis, claiming she mimicked others to seem credible. Rainey even worked with a forensics expert who suggested the letters from Richard and Dan were written by Linda herself, their handwriting virtually identical. This raises a chilling possibility. Could Linda have crafted parts of this narrative, weaving a tale that captivated even seasoned researchers? Yet Linda's conviction never wavered. She faced ridicule, media scrutiny, and even a 2024 Netflix docuseries that she claims misrepresented her story, leading her to sue the platform for defamation. Her son Johnny backs her up, saying, "I know my mom better than anyone. There's no way I believe she would make anything like this up." The Manhattan alien abduction case remains a paradox, a story with too many witnesses to dismiss, yet too many questions to fully embrace. Was Linda the victim of cosmic forces, or did she spin a tale that blurred the line between truth and illusion? Listeners, the shadows are deep on this one. Juniper, this case is like a hall of mirrors. Every angle reflects something new and unsettling. What do you make of it?
Man, I'm torn between staring at the stars and double-checking my locks.
Right.
That skepticism from Rainey's got me wondering, but those witnesses, it's spooky either way.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we wrap it up?
Absolutely. Over to you, Juniper, for the sign-off.
Well, listeners, we've just floated through the eerie enigma of the Manhattan alien abduction case, Linda Napolitano's wild ride into the unknown, witnesses by strangers and haunted by obsession. Was it aliens, a cosmic message, or something else entirely? That's for you to ponder under the stars. Thanks for tuning in to the Shadow Frequency, where the shadows always have a story to tell. Matt, say goodbye.
Stay spooky, everyone.
And we'll see you next time on The Frequency, where the paranormal hums. Good night, and keep watching the skies.
This episode was produced with a commitment to exploring the unexplained while grounding our discussion in documented discoveries. All interpretations are speculative and intended for entertainment purposes.